This vodcast will display how Torah Bright, Australia's most successful Winter Olympian, had progressed from her local grassroots ski club to transitioning from skiing as a child to snowboarding, as well as her successful career as an elite athlete competing globally. I chose Torah after reading her autobiography, It Takes Courage, because she is a positive role model for both men and women in winter sports. She's constantly pushing herself and snowboarding as a sport, and in particular, the halfpipe event. I also chose her because of my background in winter sports, with many friends currently going through the same developmental pathways that Torah experienced. Torah also grew up in the same area as I did and is a local hero, and I wanted to understand how she became to be so successful. Sport delivery systems allow sport to be delivered through a range of formats, from the media, state and national organisations, to private organisations. Examining these systems allows us to understand how different sports are structured. Understanding these systems also allows us to see the developmental pathways athletes must take, from the grassroots or club level to the elite level where they can compete internationally. This analysis looks at Torah Bright and her experience with sport delivery systems. The analysis will also look at the competition structure of the halfpipe, snowboard cross and slopestyle events, while also analysing the global events, both professional, the X Games, and amateur, the Olympics, that hold these competitions. Additional information will also be used to provide different perspectives of these events, competitions, and on Torah herself. From a young age, Torah was involved in a wide variety of sports at a club and school level. At a school level, she competed in cross-country skiing and running and inter-school snow sports competitions. At a club level, she competed in Cooma Gymnastics, Cooma Little Athletics, and Cabramurra Ski Club, attributing much of her success to her early involvement in gymnastics, where, as Torah says in her book, gave her an early understanding of aerial awareness of her body, which further on in her life allowed her to perform some tricks, in particular her signature move, the McTwist, that no other girls had tried, as well as her early exposure to skiing, mastering 4 edges before moving to snowboarding with only 2, where again, saying in her book, gave her excellent control over her board. She became involved in these sports because of her mother's push for all her children to do as many sports as they could and to be as active as possible. Her reasoning was that they should try everything and that most sports would provide a good cross-training for their skiing in the off-season. The major grassroots competition in the Snowy Mountains region were the inter-schools events, where Torah competed in border cross for inter-schools competition within Australia. At the elite level, Torah competed in border cross, slopestyle, and a preferred event, the halfpipe, for both the X Games and Vancouver and Sochi Olympics, where at Sochi she was the first women's snowboarder to compete in 3 events. Border cross is a knockout event, and according to the International Ski Instructors Association, the 2 qualification runs are performed individually and are timed runs. The better run will be used for the rankings. The best 8, 16 or 32 will qualify for the final runs in rounds for 4 borders. The pairings for the final knockout runs are determined based on the qualification times. The 2 fastest from each run qualify for the next round. As well as these rules, the course is set up with a series of features including jumps, drops, rollers and banked corners with gates situated on the features that the competitors must board through. Snowboard halfpipe and slopestyle are formatted the same as a knockout event. According to the Federation of International Skiing, or FIS, the top 2 ranked competitors from each heat progress to the finals, with each competitor performing a series of tricks, competing in 2 runs where the highest scoring run is used as their result for each stage of qualifiers and finals. Then, the top 2 ranked competitors from the qualifying heats compete in the finals to determine the top 3 places. This table displays Torah's top 10 achievements in her professional snowboarding career. In 2001, Torah competed in her first international event, placing 3rd at the FIS Junior World Championship Superpipe. A year later, in 2002, she again placed 3rd at the FIS Junior World Championship Superpipe. In 2002, Torah was also offered a 6-figure contract with Roxy Snowboards, providing her with the gear and funding needed to be competitive on a global scale. She also had the same offer from Burton Snowboards, her other sponsor at the time, but after what she says was one of the hardest decisions of her life, decided to take Roxy's offer because of their increased role in women's sport. In 2004, Torah placed 1st in the FIS World Cup Superpipe and in 2006 again placing first in the World Superpipe Championships. In 2007, Torah won a gold medal at the Winter X Games Superpipe event, the biggest event on the professional circuit. In 2010, she was awarded Rider of the Year for the Snowboard magazine, and in that same year achieved her own personal goal of winning a gold medal at the Vancouver Olympics for halfpipe. In 2011, Torah was awarded the Order of Australia for services to sport. This was given to Torah because, as the Governor-General at the time, Quinta Bryce, says, she was a positive role model for not just women in sports, but all women in Australia because of her hard-working and positive attitude to everything she does. In 2014, Torah won a silver at the Sochi Winter Olympics in the halfpipe, as well as being the only Australian to complete 3 events: snowboard cross, halfpipe and slopestyle. When Torah was competing in her early years, things were different than they are today. Snowboarding halfpipe events were very much still in their early stages as a global sport, with few programs and little to no funding opportunities for snowboarders within Australia. For bordercross, there were state and national organisations like New South Wales Institute of Sport and Ski Snowboard Australia, but nothing for halfpipe training. As well as a lack of facilities within Australia and considerably smaller snow season compared to the Northern Hemisphere, these combined lack of facilities and organisations forced Torah to move overseas to Utah in America, where she could train and be closer to facilities and have an increased exposure to the international and professional circuit. Once overseas, it was through private funding and sponsorships that she was able to compete. It wasn't until 2010, when halfpipe was introduced into the Olympics, that Torah got federal assistance through funding and training facilities for the 2010 Vancouver Games, in which in turn allowed Torah to win gold for the Games because of her natural talent and access to elite training facilities. However, because of Australia's increased success in the Winter Olympic Games, developmental pathways have been created which cater for all areas of progression, from mastering the basics to specific training for competitions, as shown in the Ski and Snowboards Australia's look into a holistic approach to talent identification. The first step on the pathway is based on learning the basics, where interested people can enter the ski school programs and, in turn, enter inter-school events in conjunction with the SSA pathway programs. The next 2 steps are focused around athlete selection, testing, and train to see if they have potential. State sport organisations like the New South Wales Institute of Sport start identifying and selecting athletes to start training and developing skills for more competition-focused training. The final stage focuses on individual athletes training for the Olympics in conjunction with AIS programs. While early on in Torah's career, sports organisations did not play much of a role in her success. However, later in her career, in particular the Australian Institute of Sport, provided a key supportive role for her goal of participating in 3 different competitions at the Sochi Olympics through race-specific coaching and training, as well as rehab for her multiple concussions in the lead-up to the Games. The main supporter through Torah's career was Roxy, providing her with a 6-digit sponsorship contract and gear, taking a lot of the stress off funding trips overseas and competition entry. After Torah's gold medal at the 2007 Winter X Games, Roxy and Torah came out with the Roxy's then new line of outerwear and snowboard gear called the Bright Series, which was a line of clothing snowboard gear specifically designed and branded by Torah Bright and was released under Roxy's professional athlete range of merchandise. Torah's brother Ben Bright was her biggest supporter. He became a coach early on in her career and kept coaching Torah throughout her whole professional career. As a snowboarder himself, Ben gave Torah advice on competition strategies and ideas for new tricks, pushing her to her limits. Because of their sibling connection, they were able to communicate very well with each other, and Ben knew when he was pushing Torah too hard and needed to back off. This excellent communication was vital to Torah's success because Ben and Torah were able to adapt their tricks and runs where necessary. Torah recognises all the help she has had from friends, family and sporting organisations. I believe this because throughout her autobiography, she makes sure to mention every person who has helped her train, provided accommodation and emotional support when she was struggling through a divorce. This tells me that she can identify all those people who aided her to be so successful and has gone to the effort of mentioning them in her book. In particular, she is thankful to her mother and father who sacrificed so much time to drive her to resorts for training, quit the job and move overseas to provide Torah with transportation to and from different resorts for competitions. Torah is also thankful for Roxy for providing her a positive training and mentoring environment for when she was away from home and helped her to deal with her newfound fame. Torah was well aware of how she became to be so successful. It was through an intricate supportive web of the people around her and their willingness to help out, as well as her natural talent. She also attributes her success to the hours upon hours of hard work and training that she has put into her snowboarding. Her positive nature and kindness also increased her popularity with both the media and increased her fan base, which also allowed her to be such a success on and off the professional circuit.